You learn, you read, you surround yourself with other people. Don't stay isolated behind your computer. You come to things like this, you join groups, you learn what other people are doing. And a lot of it is just understanding the value yourself.
You're listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Michael Palmer. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Palmer. And in this special 2-episode series recorded live at Accountex Canada 2025 at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre, I was joined by Beyond Bookkeeping author and returning guest, Lisa Campbell, whose book has inspired bookkeepers around the world to transform their lives and businesses. In part one of this conversation, Lisa shares her midnight moment that sparked her journey from burnout to breakthrough, how she shifted her mindset from being just a bookkeeper to a business owner, and why understanding your true value is the first step to creating the life and business you really want. Let's dive in right now. Hello, everyone. How are you all today? Okay. Wow, a woo? Hello. A whoop back in the back. Perfect. Well, this is going to be a conversation, and I'd like to welcome, this is actually a live podcast interview with Lisa Campbell. This is the Successful Bookkeeper, and I will just say today is actually kind of a special day for the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. Today we aired our 500th, I can barely say that, our 500th episode. We started the Successful Bookkeeper podcast back in 2016, thank you. 2016, and we're pushing 10 years doing this. 52 episodes every single year, one a week. And the producer is Dave Mendonca at the back. He's the person that finds all of those guests. So if you have been a listener, the big thank you really should go to Dave. All I do is ask the questions. But today, we are talking about Beyond Bookkeeping. And we have our guest, Lisa Campbell, who has written the book, Beyond Bookkeeping, as well as coached and mentored, run her own successful bookkeeping business, and has mentored hundreds, if not thousands of bookkeepers around the world to drive their life, their business beyond bookkeeping. So let's get into it. Lisa, your book, Beyond Bookkeeping, opens with what you call your midnight moment. Mm-hmm. Can you share what was going through your head that night and how it changed everything for you?
Yeah, it was a panic and a realization of this is just crap. This is just constant giving up my free time to be on track with client work. And it had to change. It was awful.
So maybe let's step back a little bit and tell us, and this is the classic question I ask in every single episode, and I've broken the rule here today, but how did you end up doing what you're doing today?
Oh, it's such a long story. Okay, so I think at that point I had been introduced to your program, The 7 Secrets, and I listened to it and I thought, I can actually build a business out of what I'm doing. I've got a full client roster, but I'm maxed out at what I'm doing because it's only me. And so I'd listened to this webinar that Michael had done about scaling your business and being able to bring team on and have consistent quality control over the work. But the thing is, I didn't act on it. I was amazed, I was impressed. I thought, holy crap, you can really do this? I didn't even know you could do this. But I didn't take any action. You know, we learn, and we don't take any action. So I'm up at the cottage and I'm freaking out. And then I think that's when you and I started talking about systemizing. And I wasn't sure if it was right for me, if that's the direction I wanted to go in, but I did it anyway, right? Secretly, I hid it from my husband because I didn't want him to know. But then once I systemized, I was able to bring on people that could do the work for me, so I could move on to other things. So I moved on to so many different things, places that I never thought I'd actually be. And a lot of it is coaching bookkeepers themselves, how they can do the same thing, really owning their value, because it's really important that we do own our value. And basically, you just build what you want to build. You just have to get the structure in place, and away you go. So that's how I got there.
And so in the book, you talk about, I had a job, not a business.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure everyone's heard that comment and probably felt that way, but let's hear it from yourself.
Well, if you've got a full roster and you're getting paid for the clients whose work you're doing, you're maxed out. There's only so many hours in a day, right? You can't do much. If you don't do the work, you don't get paid. So you've basically created a job for yourself. And that's great. And I tell people this all the time. You got those clients. They love your work. You did that on your own. But if you don't do the work, you don't get paid. It's a job, right? You can't take a vacation and step away. That's what I meant by I had a job.
And being in that cycle, when you were doing that, what was the experience like for you?
What was, sorry, the last part?
In the cycle of having the job.
Yeah.
What was it like for you on your life, your well-being?
Oh, it's hard.
Your
It's
mental health?
hard. I'm sure a lot of you guys could relate. Doing work on a Friday night, on a weekend, catching up, there's a deadline, maybe you miss something, there's too much work, you take on too many clients. It's just a nightmare, right? So there had to be a way to get out of that, because as much as I was enjoying working with my clients and the money was decent, but I was maxed out. I had to break that cycle.
I've spoken to hundreds of bookkeepers all around the world, and from every level of their journey, from the very beginnings to the very top, selling $1 million bookkeeping business.
Yep.
And every single one of those people, the number one thing that makes the difference is your mindset.
Yes,
You had to shift your mindset.
I did.
How did you shift your mindset?
A lot of that was thanks to you, actually, because you and I were talking. No, he did. When I first started systemizing, Michael was coaching with me, and to me, I was thinking this is very overwhelming to have to get all these systems in place. And I will never forget what you said to me. You said, stop looking at the whole ladder and just look at one rung at a time. Just take it the next rung. And so that's what I did. And the mindset flip, I think, there is, it's not that it's a lot of work, it's that I'm creating something bigger than just me.
And I think good advice for anyone in any walk of life is to think that way. It's like, I've got this. I think I was watching a post recently on Instagram, and the tagline was 30 years of psychology, and one of the big questions is just telling yourself you got this.
Yeah.
Now, you wrote the book Beyond Bookkeeping.
Yep.
What does it really mean to go beyond bookkeeping?
It means to look at everything else that you're doing or could be doing rather than just crunching numbers. Like you're just crunching numbers. There's no value there. So moving beyond that is being able to step back and actually look at the story the numbers are telling you and work with your clients so that they can build better businesses.
And for you, we talked a little bit about mindset, but how did you take your life and business beyond bookkeeping?
Well, once I systemized and had somebody doing the compliance stuff for me, I will never forget as well. I was actually in New Jersey at a conference. Michael was there, and I said, it's been 4 days since I've checked my email, and nothing's going, like there's no fires I have to put out. Everything is fine. So, sorry, I got a little off track. What was it?
Oh, it's good. We were talking about how you went beyond bookkeeping.
Oh, yeah. So the point being that I had time to learn so many other things. I went into Profit First. I learned that I could really work with my clients that way. I was able to develop mentorship programs to help other bookkeepers get the same stuff in place so that they can go on to do what they want to do. So it just keeps going.
So, and let's give a little bit of a time frame. So between when you really made your shift to Beyond Bookkeeping and when you started your business, how many years are we talking here?
Well, I've been doing bookkeeping for longer than I care to admit. So started in about 1991 with my own company. I was just not hiring a bookkeeper. I was going to do it right. Knew nothing about running a business. But technically running my business full time, I would say from about 2012, 2013, systemized in 2014, and started advising in 2018.
Okay, so since 1991
Yeah.
to 2000, and when do you think your big shift? That'd have been 2014-ish, 15-ish, is that what you said?
The big shift in my mindset?
Yes.
2014. Yeah, 2014.
So that's a decent number of years. And
Yep.
I'm not the bookkeeper, so how many years we got here? Right? 91 to 2014?
Yeah.
That's like 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see how many people have been in their own business for 1 year. More than 1 year. More than 2 years. You can drop your hand if it's 3 years, 4, 7, 10, 15. We got any 15s? Oh, we got a 15 at the back. A couple 15s. 20. So a lot of years, right? And every single person has a different, like my son's hockey coach always says, they're like popcorn. They're just gonna all pop at different moments. And for you in the audience, your Beyond Bookkeeping story, the one that you've been dreaming of, your business that you're building, is gonna pop at who knows when, right? But often we always talk about the good times, right? Oh, here's all the good things that we did. What were even when you went into your Beyond Bookkeeping, it wasn't all easy.
No.
So what were some of the breakdowns?
Time. A lot of time. Because if you have a full roster and you're working like nuts, the last thing you want to do is work on your systems, your processes, your SOPs, and all that stuff, right? It's a lot. The thing is, though, once you do that, that's what frees you up.
So the breakthrough is, the breakdown leads to the breakthrough.
Yes, exactly.
Who here in the audience has had a breakdown around time? Holy cow, you're all time masters. You must have read Getting Things Done by David Allen.
They have all the time in the world.
We got some David Allen fans out here? So let me ask it again. Who's ever had a breakdown around time? Come on, nobody? Yes, everyone, right? So what was your breakthrough around time? It was doing the sharpening of the saw is sometimes difficult, and it's counterintuitive to what you think you might have to be doing in your business.
Yep.
So how did you get through those moments where it's like, I gotta go do this? That's not even gonna produce an instant result for your business, but you had to, how did you get through that?
I focused on why I was doing it, right? And so I was in a very difficult situation. I was in a toxic marriage, and I had to be able to support 3 kids on my own. And so I made sure that I dedicated time without him knowing about it, because I didn't want him to know what I was doing. But I made sure that I scheduled the time to work on all this stuff, prime times when I should have been working on client work, and then I pushed the client work into the evenings and weekends that way so that I could get that done, right? And then I just slowly stuck to those deadlines and made sure that I took those focus blocks and worked my way through it. Sure enough, I got out the other side.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So the big why is, I think, a key piece in this episode so far is,
Yeah, why?
are you aware of why you're doing what you're doing? And that big vision for the future of what all that work that you're doing right now, what is that going to do for you? What is that payoff going to be for you? And what does it mean to you? If you get that really clear and keep it clear, that's what will help make the big shifts.
I can add to that, actually.
Please do.
If you think about what you actually want to do with business owners, how can you help them? What do you want to do? What are you really passionate about? Because they're the backbone of our society, right? If you think about, I want to be working in that zone, your why now to get the stuff installed, the things that you need to do, that's going to be your driver. It's like your why now is because I want to be there. And then once you come out the other side, your why is because I want to work with business owners this way, not transactionally.
So when it comes to the why, did you ever you have the big why, did you ever become disconnected with your why along the journey?
No, never.
How did you keep it present and real?
I actually had a little notebook and sticky notes that I had up when someone wasn't around, just to remind myself, this is hard work. And I remember my kids were little, and they were probably, I had a baby, but then I had 2 older ones that were maybe around, I don't know, just 15, somewhere in there. And they kept saying, Mom, you're working all the time. You're working all the time. What are you doing? And I kept saying, I'm working on something. Trust me, everything's going to be fine, and then it will calm down. Just stick to it. You have to.
Just stick to it. So we're going to move into conversation around pricing, value, and profit first thinking. You've worked closely with the profit first system. How did that transform your business, and then as you started to work with others' business?
It transformed it because it's very intentional. So at the time, this is all tied to my horrible story, but I was sitting with 6 figures worth of debt. So I knew my business was making money, but I also wanted to pay that back. So the clarity I got around installing that was I was able to pay that debt off within 2 years. So it's just really, really clear and intentional about what your money's doing. And then when I started doing that with clients, they got the same results. And it's just like, wow, this is really, really rewarding. It's so much better to have a conversation with a client who said, oh my God, I actually have my tax money, right? And I can pay it, than to, I don't understand this balance sheet. It doesn't make any sense. Can you explain it to me? That's not fun.
Absolutely. So in Beyond Bookkeeping, you write that more clients doesn't mean more profit. How can bookkeepers give themselves a raise without taking on more work?
Increase your price. I know everybody's afraid of that. Everybody's totally afraid of doing that. But here's the thing, even if you lose the bottom 10% of your client roster, you've made up already on the top, because people who really do appreciate what you do for them are going to, no problem. I get 20% increase, no problem. Piece of cake. So if you just look at your pricing, and I guarantee a lot of people have not adjusted their prices in a long time, right?
Let's do a poll.
Have a look.
Let's do a poll. Oh boy. You can put up just one finger so no one sees. Who here thinks that they should do a price reset, an evaluation? Yes, we got one in the back. A price increase, evaluation, yeah. So a few people, and that's probably everyone. Based on those numbers,
Yep,
right?
yep.
As a statistician, I will say this whole room needs the price reset. Anyone who says absolutely no price reset needed, price is very strong, very good, very healthy. Anybody? See a hand. One in the back. Congratulations. Come up. You just retired. Just kidding. No, what happened? You just did it? Just put them up. Beautiful. Congratulations. Some inspiration for the rest of the crowd. So maybe let's just have a little talk. Often people talk about hourly pricing, value pricing, fixed pricing, subscription pricing. There's probably a new pricing we could talk about.
Oh, probably.
We could make one up.
Yep.
So at the very start, where this all began in hourly pricing, what's the alternative?
Well, there's value pricing and there's subscription pricing. It's pretty much all you're going to do. You could do fixed rate, but you know what? I have this. No, I'll save that for later.
I'll save it for later. We might forget.
I'm going to tie that into something else. If you're billing by the hour, you're changing time for money. That's it. There's no value in there. You're not going to see the value. The client's not going to see the value. So that when you go to do a rate increase, they start looking at, well, I could go to this bookkeeper over here. It's not about the transactional work anymore. That's how it started. That's not where this industry is going.
Yes. Okay. So you talk about hidden gold. Value adds, hidden gold,
Okay.
value adds in the book.
Yeah.
They're doing already, but not charging for them. What are what's the hidden gold?
Okay, so, and you guys probably all do it, right? Client calls, little extra project, little extra this, little extra that, right? Scope creep, right? So what I tell people to do is look at what you do on a daily basis for your clients that is just compliance, right? The bank recs, the statements, like just making sure that you can run the P&L, the balance sheet, cash flow statement, whatever the basic stuff is, right? But when you start adding multi-currency, when you start adding cash flow forecasting, when you start having meetings or discussing the business and where it's going, and I can't make payroll and all, every single one of those is over and above compliance work, and those are value pieces. The other piece of that is urgency. You know, if you tell me I didn't file my taxes and I need this all done by Friday and it's Monday, that's a value add, and I'm going to charge you a premium, right? But so many of us don't do that. We just go into our weekend, give it all up, do it for the client because we like the client, we've been working with the client for a long time, right? No, you've got to get your value in there.
So many of the times, our audience here has already been doing those things for nothing, right? Who here has been doing the gold and charging nothing for it? Anybody? Yes.
Thank you for your honesty.
Thank you for your honesty, right? I mean, the finger is pointing back here too. I've done things that I know I should be charging for, but I don't. So it's a human thing. It's a personal thing. It's a tough thing to overcome. So how can we help, or what's the message or some pathway to helping overcome that, which is the human condition of wanting to be valuable? Because let's not forget, right? Bookkeepers are some of the most helpful people on the planet. You want to help people. You're helping some of the most difficult situations there are out there. People going through financial strife, ups, downs, business. They've got family, staff, people, all these things, high stress, right? So you're in that business. You're already very helpful people. So now all of a sudden, I got to charge for this? I got to charge extra? How do they make that leap?
You learn, you read, you surround yourself with other people. Don't stay isolated behind your computer. You come to things like this. You join groups. You learn what other people are doing. And a lot of it is just understanding the value yourself. Do you want me to talk about that little exercise in the book?
Please do.
Okay, so I don't know if anybody has ever been to any of my trainings before, but what you want to do is take a piece of paper. Daniel, you know this. Take a piece of paper and you write down all of your compliance work, everything that you do, right? You clear the bank feeds, you do the bank recs, you save the statements, you run reports, you send it to the client, whatever, right? Then you go and list everything else you do. Did you create a special process on a spreadsheet for this client for tracking something? Do you have meetings? Do you check their cash flow? Are you dealing with 5 different currencies? Those are all things over and above. Then below that, you're going to write another set of urgency, timelines, difficulty of the client. Are they a pain in the butt, right? Like all of these things in here. And you're going to go up to the top, right below all of your compliance alone. You're going to draw a very solid line. Everything below that you are doing for nothing, and it's a value add. So when you actually see it on paper, it's easier for you to identify the things that you do that you should be charging for. If it's abstract in your head, I do this and I do that, it's really hard to pull that value out yourself.
Absolutely. And so I'm going to read a little bit here right on this. I saw this post the other day. If you're a teen, do we have any teens in the audience? Oh, no teens? Oh, you're a teen? Me too. Yeah, up in my head. So if you're a teen, remember this. And I read that. I'm like, wait a second. This applies to me. This applies to everyone. And it applies exactly to what you're talking about here. What you eat rewires your brain. Goals you set rewire your brain. Skills you learn rewire your brain. Books, habits, way you exercise, music you listen to, challenges you face, how much you sleep, languages you speak, gratitude you practice, thoughts you entertain, environment you live, people you interact with, way you talk to yourself, emotions you experience, rewires your brain. So the people you surround yourself with rewire your brain. You take a look at the exercise Lisa does, it starts to rewire your brain. Anything you do that's different than what you did yesterday starts to rewire your brain. You start a little bit, you do little things, starts to rewire your brain. Next thing you know, you got a whole new brain and you're doing all sorts of different things that you have no idea how you ended up doing. That's if you do the good things. If you do the bad things, same thing happens. So I thought that was a great post, and it makes so much sense, and yet often what we do every day is what? The same thing, right? The grind wheel, to come in, to do the thing. So we have to interrupt that.
Yes,
how did you interrupt yourself?
Just learning. I read a lot. I read a lot of books about mindset, about growth, just because, you think you're this small, just a one-person show, you're doing your thing. You don't realize the things that you can create. And so I think surrounding myself with the right people and reading the right books, doing webinars, and just being open to the possibility that there's something out there that I can be doing. Like, for example, your webinar that you sent me, the very beginning, the 7 secrets to growing your bookkeeping business, I got emails from him. I didn't even know him. got emails all the time. Like, watch this free webinar. And I'm like, no, I don't have time. I'm busy with client work, right? And one day I actually sat down and watched it and went, oh my God, like I can build a business? So I think things like that, be open to what's out there, what other people are doing. And another thing I will tell people is if there's something specific you want to do, go find someone who's done it and learn from them. Don't waste time. You don't need to. It's an information age.
Right. Absolutely. It's all around us. So let's talk a little bit more about this shift from compliance work to advisory. And you talked a lot about going from technician, starting your business. How did the advisory piece begin in your business, that leap to doing the advisory?
That's when I had the systems in place to hand off the compliance work to somebody else, that's when I had the time to learn. And I went to Profit First because a lot of my clients were struggling with cash flow and profitability. But it kind of fell in my lap. I was on a Facebook group and I saw somebody posting about Profit First and I said, what is this Profit First thing? And then when I learned more about it, I was like, this is perfect. So it was really easy for me to do that. I had the time to train. That's the key. You're not going to have the time to train if you don't take the steps and put a little bit of pain in to get to the place where you have time to do other things. So I did. And then I really focused on that. I rebranded and I, had conversations with my clients and got a lot of new higher level ones because that's exactly what they were looking for. And so that was just my shift. We got to a point where we said, we're not going to take you on for bookkeeping unless you're also going to be working with us with Profit First. It was a no-brainer. I'm not going to watch one client struggle with cash flow when I have the answer. And then I'm working with other clients where they're just fine, right? So we drew a hard line in the sand there.
Okay. Now, to get there, the ecosystem, you talk about the ecosystem in your book. How did you set up your ecosystem? And tell us a little bit about this concept, the ecosystem.
Okay, so the ecosystem, I explain it like, I usually do this with two hands, so just pretend this is a ball, okay? So everybody, all the businesses that are out there are trying to get into work with you, okay? So this is your ecosystem. So there has to be a way to filter out all these conversations that you're having with people that you're probably never going to work with. Like whether it's a software you don't want to use, an industry, you don't want to work with startups, you don't want to work with construction. You have to have a way of filtering out people who want to talk to you, right? So you create an intake system. They have to come through your intake system in the way that you say, yes, I want to move on and maybe go to discovery with this client and learn more about maybe working together, but they have to go through the intake process out here before they can actually get in here. This is your firm, right? Once they get into your firm, you've decided this is somebody I want to work with and they want to work with you. Then you have to have a whole system for how you deliver the work. You have to provide all this compliance work. That has to be done the same way every single time. Right up into the point where either they leave your firm, like they've grown. I've had clients where they've grown to a point they need an accounting department, which is great. That's just a stepping stone, right? But there has to be this intentional process right from the point where somebody wants to talk to you, like a prospect or a lead, through to the onboarding, the discovery first, the onboarding, then the deliverables, and then the exit. So there has to be step-by-step system for all of that. That's the ecosystem for me.
What a terrific chat so far. In part 2 of our conversation, Lisa will discuss building a business that attracts your ideal clients, letting go of the I'm not qualified story, and taking the first simple step from bookkeeper to trusted advisor, plus much more. And with that, we wrap another episode of the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. To learn more about today's wonderful guest and to get access to all sorts of valuable free business building resources, you can go to thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Until next time, goodbye.
You've been listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with Michael Palmer. For more information and to download the resources mentioned in this episode, please visit us at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Thank you for listening.